Hi, you guys. Welcome back for our daily practice questions. It is day 335, and as always, I like to first start with my introduction and disclaimer before getting started with our questions for today. So, for those of you who are familiar with me, hey y'all. For those of you who are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Brittany Weinstock, a family nurse practitioner and the founder and CEO of the Nursing Studio. I provide resources, tools, review courses, review videos, review books, digital flashcards, Q banks, one on one sessions, and more to assist nurses as well as nurse practitioners with success on their boards as well as in practice. I've been doing this since 2015, assisting nurses and nurse practitioners internationally with exam success. But y'all know my disclaimer and reminders that we know there's no absolutes in medicine. We treat on a patient by patient basis, and any of the questions that you see here, I have designed and created based on the current guidelines that are being tested on the ANCC as well as AANP exam. Now, any of my videos where I'm teaching on things that we currently do in practice, I will always say that so there's no confusion. So, with that being said, let's get into question number one for today. But before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're not missing any of my videos. And if you would like to gain access to my MP Test Success Toolkit, it is free and linked in the description. My website is also linked in the description and it houses all the resources that I do offer. And as always, I'd like to direct you to my business profile by simply going to Google and searching the Nursing Studio. It'll bring you here where you can find my contact telephone number, link to my website, and testimonials from previous review students. All right, y'all. Question number one. A 32-year-old woman presents with fatigue and pica. She reports heavy menstrual cycles. Labs show a hemoglobin of 9.8, an MCV of 72, ferritin of 8, total iron binding capacity is high, and serum iron levels are low. What is the most likely diagnosis? Is it A, thalassemia? Is it B, anemia of chronic disease? Is it C, iron deficiency anemia? Or is it D, sideroblastic anemia? Take a moment and tell me what you got in the comments, you guys. All right, I always recommend reading the stem of the question first as it allows you to slow down to ensure you're answering what is even being asked of you. So here the stem of the question states, what is the most likely diagnosis? And I always tell you, if they're asking for a diagnosis or looking for a diagnosis in the stem of the question, you need to run it back and take a look at the assessment findings. How are they presented? What are the signs and symptoms so that we can determine a differential diagnosis, right? So we have a 32-year-old female. She has fatigue and pica, reports heavy menstrual cycles, lab values, hemoglobin is low. So this coincides with the symptoms along with anemic presentation. So now we want to determine like what type of anemia, right? So the MCV is low, right? It's less than 80. So that's microcytic. Um, ferritin is low. TIBC is high. Iron is low. This is classic presentation for iron deficiency anemia. Remember, microcytic hypochromic is either going to be iron deficiency anemia or thalassemia. And the way you differentiate between the two of those is that with iron deficiency anemia, the iron and the ferritin will be low because we're deficient in iron, whereas with thalassemia, they'll be normal. If y'all struggle with anemia, go check out my anemia video. All right, question number two. A 68-year-old man with long-standing rheumatoid arthritis presents with mild fatigue. Labs show a hemoglobin of 11.2, MCV of 90. Ferritin is on the normal high end with a low serum iron and a low total iron binding capacity. What is the most likely anemia? Is it A, anemia of chronic disease, B, iron deficiency anemia, C, B12 deficiency anemia, or D, aplastic anemia? Take a moment and tell me what you got. All right, stem of the question. What is the most likely anemia? So it's letting us know in the stem that it is anemia, but we need to diagnose which type of anemia. So still it's a diagnosis style question. So you want to look at the assessment findings so that we can gauge this more closely. So they have a normal MCV. They have, so that's normal cytic, right? And then the ferritin is on the normal end, but on a high normal end. Iron is low and total iron binding capacity is low. This is classic for anemia of chronic disease. So what's really going on here? When you have normocytic, normochromic, the only anemia that falls into that category is your anemia of chronic disease, and the hemoglobin and like your serum iron may be mildly low. because they are anemic, but because it is associated with a chronic issue, everything else normalizes. So the best answer is A. All right, lastly, question number 3. A 55-year-old woman with a history of gastric bypass presents with numbness in her feet and difficulty walking. Labs show a hemoglobin of 10.5, MCV of 112, um, elevated methylmalonic acid. What is the appropriate treatment? Is it A, oral ferrous sulfate? Is it B, IM cytocobalamin? Is it C, folate supplementation? Or is it D, oral vitamin D daily? Take a moment and tell me what you got. Instead of the question here is, what is the appropriate treatment? So treatment style questions, you have to run it back and look and see if they provided you with a diagnosis. If they have not, you need to run it back a step further so that you can determine the diagnosis, meaning we need to look back at the assessment findings so that we can come up with a differential. So then we are able to treat, because you got to know what it is to be able to treat it, right? And so we have a 55-year-old female. She has a history of gastric bypass, has numbness in her feet, difficulty walking. Number one, already, this is a classic presentation for vitamin B12 deficiency anemia. A lot of patients who have a history of gastric bypass have deficiencies in their in their vitamin B levels. So also with vitamin B12 deficiency anemia, they can have numbness, they can have tingling, they can have paresthesias, they can have neural deficits and changes in gait, all of which is displayed here with the numbness, difficulty walking. So let's look at the lab values. Hemoglobin is low, so there is some form of anemia. And the MCV is 112, which exceeds the normal range of 80 to 100, making this macrocytic. So that also confirms B12 deficiency anemia, right? Because how does that present? Macrocytic normochromic, right? So, how do we treat B12 deficiency anemia? And we treat it by giving them B12, right? And so that is B. B is your best answer. All right, y'all. I hope you found this helpful. As always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share with whoever you may think may find this beneficial as well. But y'all know what to do. Y'all make sure y'all meet me back here. And if you need any of the resources that I do offer, feel free to reach out to the nursing studio. You can give us a call, shoot us a text message, or an email. And everything that I do offer is linked in the bio of this channel, including my website. And as I mentioned previously, my website is linked in the description of this video. All right, y'all. Y'all know what to do. Y'all make sure y'all meet me back here. Happy studying. Bye, y'all.